What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like on this video. I would very much appreciate it. Well, guys, I know it's been a couple weeks, but we're back with another 1/6 scale figure review. Of course, this is a third-party figure from my favorite third-party company, Mars Toys. As you can see, we finally have the official release of the Mars Toys MAT012, or the Mr. W, or the Bruce Wayne, the Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne. Really excited to check this one out. I can't wait to show it to you guys, of course. A big shout out, as always, to Kit Chen over at 1/6 Kit for shipping this out to me very quickly. It arrived in great shape, as you could see, so definitely head on over. Links in the description to check out 1/6 Kit. But guys, as always, let's take a quick tour around the packaging. We have a nice shoebox style packaging here. I love that kind of Batman in the background there. That iconic Tim Burton Batman look there in the background. Obviously here on the front, we do have our Batman rocking the suit with the cowl and everything. This is the Bruce Wayne here, so you won't see that inside the packaging, but still very cool nonetheless. Moving down, you do have your Mr. W logo there. I think that looks really nice. I like the graphic design work very much so on this box. Moving down, like I pointed out, this is the MAT012. On the underside, it says 1/6 scale collectible figure. Moving around to the side, you do have your Mars Toys logo. It'll be the same on the other side. Yes, it is. And sorry, guys, this is a fingerprint magnet here. Moving around to the back, you have an awesome image there of Bruce Wayne in a couple different poses. Definitely a huge fan of that. If we get a little bit closer, you can see the Mars Toys, Mr. W, the warning text and everything like that. Of course, if you'd like to read that, certainly pause it and read it. You do have all the different socials for Mars Toys. I highly recommend hopping in that Facebook group because you get all the early images of all the upcoming products and stuff. And sometimes products that are getting ready to release, definitely check out that Facebook group for sure. But now, as always, guys, let's take the foam inserts out of the packaging and see how it arrives to you when it lands on your doorstep. All right, now here's our first foam insert, and here's our second foam insert. Sorry for the reflection. Now, though, let me take the figure and all of the accessories out of the inserts, and we'll take a closer look at all of the details. Starting it off strong, guys. You guys know I always complain about the amount of hands included. Big shout out to Mars Toys. This is one of the first figures in a while that actually included a minimum of 8 hands, so definitely really good to see. And I definitely want to add, Mars Toys has really stepped it up in the paint app department. As you can see, there's very obvious speckling and stuff in the skin. The sculpt work is very nice also. Just really nicely done. This is just a Bruce Wayne figure. He doesn't do anything crazy, but Mars still included 8 hands. Obviously, there's 6 here, 2 pre-installed on the figure. I'm very happy with that. Once again, guys, I'm very pleased with how the paint looks as well. Moving on to the next accessory. Next, we have our beautiful display base here. Definitely really love how this looks. Obviously, it's very simplistic. However, I think it looks very elegant. I'm definitely a huge fan of this. I do want to point out kind of a kudos to Mars as well. On some of his older releases, I noticed there's kind of bubbles and stuff under the top layer, this sticker here that's on top of the base. And none are present here on my base. It looks absolutely beautiful, really nicely laid. Of course, you do have your crotch grabber there that's not installed currently. And then I love that Bruce Wayne nameplate there. Again, just very elegant looking and very fitting for a Bruce Wayne figure for sure. So definitely dig this display base. Next, we do have our glasses here. Now, these are made of a soft metal, so definitely be careful. They're very bendable. And also, of course, when you're putting them on the figure, make sure you don't scrape the sculpt at all because you might mess up the paint there. Not much else to say about these. I think they look very nice. And let's move on to the next accessory. Next, we have our fancy little champagne glass here. I think the choice of resin on the inside is really nice to resemble champagne. Overall, I think this is really nicely done, and I don't really have any complaints about it. As you can see, we have some nice clear resin in there, so definitely really nicely done, and will pair very well, especially when you have that Alfred. It'll be really cool to have those two together. Next, I have my fancy Bruce Wayne Pokemon card here. Of course, I'm just joking. This is really cool, though, guys. I'm definitely a big fan of this. This is kind of one of those card savers that you use for more expensive sports cards and stuff like that. Really nicely done. It is magnetic, of course, so it does open up. I did try off of camera. It's just white on the back. However, this is really cool, and you do get a little plastic easel that it sits on. If Mars, if you could, continue to do this, because this is really cool. It's a nice way of tying an action figure into the film, so I definitely think this is really cool, and I definitely would like to see more of this moving forward. And finally, for the accessories, you get this swap out all black cummerbund here, and then a swap out bow tie as well. Obviously, you see a bit of Velcro there on the back. There's the actual front of the bow tie. But these should be very easy to install at some point in this video, probably in the posing segment. I'll swap out some parts so you can kind of see both looks. But definitely really nice to see this included. If you're looking for it in your box, in my box, it was in a little baggie behind Bruce Wayne, so definitely keep that in mind. But with that being said, let's grab the Mars Toys MAT012 Mr. W, aka Bruce Wayne, and let's see what we think of it. Okay, now here we are with Mr. W. Now, as always, you guys know I like to start with the camera backed out so we can kind of do a quick 360 tour around the figure, just to get an idea of what the proportions are looking like, what the tailoring is looking like. At first glance here, guys, I think it looks very, very nice. I'm definitely really happy with how this turned out overall. I think he looks really nice. Let's get a little bit closer up. That sculpt is looking beautiful. Don't worry, we're going to get a little bit closer, but I just can't help but mention it, guys. It looks awesome. As you can see, the coat is really nicely tailored. I love that shininess to the material on the lapel. I think that looks really nice. Overall, the jacket especially is really nicely tailored. All the little buttons and everything. The way that the jacket kind of sits around the hands there, just really, really nicely done. And guys, this is straight out of the box, of course. When we go to pose and everything, we'll adjust it a little bit, as you often have to do with most 6-scale figures. Let me open up the coat here so we can get a look of what it looks like on the inside. Again, this looks absolutely incredible in my opinion. I'm very pleased with how this looks. As I mentioned earlier, you do have a swap out cummerbund and a bow tie that I showed you in the accessory portion. You can see what's pre-installed here on the figure. If we get even closer, guys, you'll see those buttons there on the shirt. The shirt tailoring with those clean stitches all around, just really nicely done. The inside of that coat, I don't want to be shy on showing that off because that is really nicely done as well. I love the material on the inside there. Just really Mars Toys elevating themselves beyond where they already have been. I'm really, really pleased with how this looks. Before we take a look any further at that sculpt, I'll just give you guys a quick shot at the lower half. Of course, we have some open, relaxed hands pre-installed on the figure, as we often see with most figures. Moving down to the feet, guys, you can see the nice tailoring on the pants. Love how the pants kind of drape over the shoes there if we pull it up. Looks like we do have some 6-scale socks there. Always love to see it. But let's move back up to the sculpt, guys, because I really want to take a look at this. And this sculpt, in my opinion, is absolutely Michael Keaton through and through. I know some people saw the photos and they're like, oh, I'm not too sure about it. I don't know if it quite looks like the prototype. Guys, trust me, in person, in my opinion, I think it very much looks like Michael Keaton. After seeing it in person, any doubts that I had, which was very little, I think they were definitely satisfied. I think this looks awesome. Of course, I'll give you a tour all the way around. The hair is sculpted very nicely, and oftentimes with slick back hair like this, sometimes it tends to look cheap. In my personal opinion, I don't think that's the case here. I think they did a really good job over at Mars Toys. I'm just very pleased with how this looks, and once again, if we back it up, you can see it. If I get even closer, you could see it. I just think the likeness is very much there. And I know a lot of you guys have that older Batman Returns figure from Hot Toys. I think at this point that figure's like 7 years old. So it's tough to compare the two. But in my opinion, if you're going to buy a Bruce Wayne figure right now, I think this is the one to get personally, just because the sculpt is much more updated. I think the likeness is better on this one, and I do think the paint apps are much better. And that's not to crap on the Hot Toys one, it's just a much older release. So that definitely is something that you want to keep in mind when looking at your options. Now let's quickly run through articulation on this guy. In terms of the shoulders, guys, they're a bit limited because that suit kind of pushes the arm down. At least it does on my particular copy. It's probably going to be similar on both sides, as you can see. A bit of limitation from the suit, but that's not a huge deal, guys, because you're not going to be doing much with this particular figure, so I'm going to let it slide for this one personally. In terms of the elbow bend, you do have a full 90, and of course that'll be the same on both sides. Again, you do have some restriction there because of the suit, so definitely just keep that in mind. Of course, you can butterfly the joints out very easily. No issues there in terms of putting the arms forward. Sorry about that. Really easy posability forward, so I don't have too many complaints about that. Before I move on, let me not forget the head sculpt. Full rotation all the way around, no issues there whatsoever. Of course, forward and backward as well. Very little limitation. I'm definitely really happy with that. In terms of the ab crunch, guys, more than plenty in my opinion for this type of figure. I have no complaints about that. In terms of the hands, guys, you do have full 360 rotation. You have that rocker ball joint in there to kind of rock the hand forward and backward. Standard stuff from all 6 scale figures in terms of the hip articulation for the legs. I mean, can't get much better than that. I will say the legs are definitely tighter than the upper torso, so that's good to see. And of course, it's going to be the same on both sides. You can really fold them in half almost, so no complaints there in my opinion. Here at the ankles, you do have full rotation up and back, really anything you would want to do. Because of the style of shoe, it is going to be a bit looser of a foot, so keep that in mind. He probably can stand on his own, and I will test that later in the video, but you do have a display stand as well to put with him. If you're worried, of course, definitely use that display stand. But now, what is there left to do than to throw the Mars Toys Mr. W, aka Bruce Wayne, in a few poses, and we'll close out this video, and I'll share my final thoughts. I think I know why this figure is called Mr. W. It's not because it's Mr. Wayne, it's not Bruce Wayne, because this figure is a W in my book. I definitely am a big fan of the head sculpt. I think the likeness to Michael Keaton is very much there. I think the paint apps are awesome. The tailoring is great. As I mentioned, the body is a bit on the looser side. You can kind of see it in the video as I was trying to pose it. Definitely keep that in mind, although all you have to do is swap the body out if that bothers you personally. Again, your copy may vary, but that's just what I experienced. Overall, I think this is a fantastic offering from Mars Toys. I'm definitely really happy with the final product. I'm so glad to finally have it in hand. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take care, I will see you next time, and I am out.